Welcome back to the Dating and Relationship Playbook with Chaz, a podcast where we discuss how to maintain, improve, and have healthy relationships, and not just relationships with our significant other, but also our relationships with our family, friends, and God. So last week I put out a episode with Dr. Sarah Michaud, and she talked about love, relationships, and codependency. And um, we were discussing, I guess you could say red flags or um things to look for, indicators to look for in relationships to know if it's a healthy relationship or if it's something that you want to invest in. And so she talked about two tracks. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is I want to talk about the two tracks she talked about. Um, Being a podcast host, one thing you don't want to do is if you have a guest and they say something that is very profound and you may have I'm not gonna say a lot of experience, and you can relate to what they're saying. You don't want to begin telling your story and then it kind of outshines or it kind of is prolonged, and then it's like, well, why did you bring me on? You know what I'm saying? If you just gonna just you could have just did this on your time. So what I wanted to one, describe the tracks, the two tracks she discussed, and then talk about how I have I can relate to the tracks that she was talking about. So when you're beginning a relationship or you're in the beginning stages of dating someone, she talked about is two tracks that you're gonna have. It's gonna be one where it's based on emotion and feelings, and that track is gonna be you can be a little delusional in this track because you're just kind of fascinated with the new relationship. So this track, you really that person looks good, he or she looks, they look good, they smell good, they might be funny. The what anything that you're attracted to with that person is going to be on that track. And a lot of times that track can make you delusional or it can make things seem as if they're not. So, like I said, they might have money, they might be in good shape, they might have a good career, they might be whatever it is that is for you. That's on that track. They might smell good, they might have, whatever it is that is for you. Um, and then is the other track. Now, this track is the fact track, the facts track. So this you would and so the question that I asked her was like, what are some ways that people can uh you know tell if they're in a healthy relationship or if they're invested in a person that is right for them. So you talked about that track, then the facts track. Um are they punctual? How do they treat other people? This is like basically things that you have evidence to support your claim. Are they nice? Are they punctual? Um, do they follow through with what they say they're gonna do? Um, are they? I don't know. I can't. I'm trying to think. Just the facts that you would, things that you would observe, and that you would be able to say you have evidence to support what that person is. And so a lot of times what we discussing, a lot of times we can focus so much on the um emotion and feelings track that we ignore the fact track. So I have experience where I've I've learned from them, I have experience where I I kind of observe the fact tracks or the facts, the track facts. It's got a tongue twister. Um, and then it's times where and I ended up being in this relationship, and then it just it went away. The relationship didn't last long after we got together, and then I was saw the fact. I didn't just go on my emotion, but I looked at the facts, and then I acted where I didn't pursue this woman. So I'm gonna tell you both sides, both stories. So when I was talking to this young lady, and um I just noticed that we had real good conversation. But one thing I noticed, and as she began to talk, was like she was talking about, her some mental health concerns with her family. And so one of the things that I was thinking, I put in my mind is like, okay, is this gonna be genetic? You know, and I was just like, just kind of ignored it, or not ignored it. I knew about it. I just didn't act on it. So, a few months later, I just kind of noticed that her behaviors began to change, and then it was like it, the mental health concern or mental health. Did am I experience this? Did you have this? Are you going through this? And so it ended up being where um I like I said, I didn't address it, and I just kind of glossed over it because I'm just thinking about her as a woman, and like I like this, I like that. And so it ended up being the thing where I had to I it was just too much to be able to be in a relationship with her. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I can't say if she, what her condition was. But I do know that something was going on. And so that was one thing that after that is like, okay, if somebody tells me certain things, then I need to be able to um like follow up, or I need to be able to what's the word? Um address it, or yeah, just being able to address it. And so that was the one that I feel like, and like I said, that just it was other things that contributed, but that was just kind of like it was draining to me, some of the things that we were going through, and I don't know if that had to do anything with her condition, or I mean if she had a condition at all, but it was impacting me. The second time, because I learned from it, the second time was, and this one I was very into the emotion. Like I wasn't as much into the emotion and feelings with the first young lady than I was with the second one. The second one, I was very into the emotion and feelings and disillusionment, if that's a word, being disillusional, being yeah, disillusional. And so because she was pretty, nice body, um, very. I mean, it was. I just being honest. It was just all physical with her. It was. Why I was into her or whatever. So then, but I observed some of the now on the fact track or track facts. I don't know. On the other side, on the fact side, I just say this. I did notice is like, okay, you're always late. You know, you got a pattern of being late, and you have a pattern of um not following through, not doing what you say you're going to do. So you'll say, "Hey, I'm gonna go here," you never do, or "Hey, we gonna go here," or "We gonna go out," then some come up, and this was happening regularly. So then I'm like, man, I don't think this is, I can't ignore this. Like this is not making me feel good. And so that was, and those are some facts that you can identify earlier in a relationship if you're being observant, not so into the emotion and the feeling and the physical. If you look at the facts, please look at the facts, because the facts don't lie. I had evidence like, okay, you say we gonna go out and then you cancel, but this week you going out. Like it just, you she never followed through with what she. I'm not gonna say never. She didn't follow. She had a pattern of not following up with what she said she was gonna do, and that's an issue for me because I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. If I can't do it, I'm gonna tell you I can't do it. But I'm not going to say, hey, I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna go to, I don't know, we're gonna go to a restaurant. Then when it's time to go to a restaurant, then it's like, okay, nah, something came up. That happened regularly. I mean, eventually we would go somewhere, but it happened regularly where we would, things would be canceled, and that's just not that wasn't as that continued to happen, then I was like, okay, this is just your character. This is just who you are, at least with me. And so one thing that Dr. Sarah said was like having that conversation. I didn't have that conversation with her because I feel like um the Lord was showing me this is just not who you supposed to be with. So I was like, I'm not even gonna bother to continue with this. And then it was just other things like because when you're delusional and you're in this state of just the attraction or whatever it is that you're attracted to, that a lot of times it will um it can outshine things that you really things that you really care about a person or things that you really value. Like I like having um I like having very complex or very in-depth conversations about, what I mean? Like I like somebody who's smart and who is can stimulate my mind. I like to think. I like to, have good conversations. And later on, that's one of the facts. Was like, man, this girl is kind of like very shallow. Like it's just like you don't I ain't gonna say you don't read, but it's just like this is like a surface. Our conversations are very surface. Even if I'm trying to give even if I'm giving you something, it just was very surface. So um, I would go back and listen to and watch um Dr. Sarah Michelle's podcast on codependency, love, and relationship. It was really good. Again, if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, my Patreon link is in the description. Please, I mean, I just say this: to support the podcast is a Patreon link there. One of the lowest ways you can donate, or I should say, I mean, having a cup of coffee a day. I know time people go to Starbucks or go somewhere and get a cup of coffee every day. Um, five is a $5 a month donation. I mean, just to support the podcast, it would be very appreciated. I appreciate a lot if you could do that. Again, this is the dating and relationship playbook with Chaz podcast where we discuss having, maintaining, and improving relationships, not just or healthy relationships, not just relationships with our significant other, but also with family, friends, and God. Again, have a good one.